Alrighty, there's the bucks. They are in doing their thing in their new house. They got evicted. And now they live in this because they outgrew their thing. Surprisingly enough, this was laying alongside the road, and somebody got the shits of it and threw it out. And I'm gonna take a guess at what happened. The well, this has a little door on it. Not a bad little thing. It's beautiful. And to say, yeah, it is beautiful. But I would not set this thing out in the yard. The wire mesh is the right size, but it's only stapled on there. Bunch of little staples and some soft pine wood is not going to stop anything. It'll keep little critters in, but a raccoon would take him like 30 seconds to go through that. He'd just grab a hold of it and rip, and that would be the end of that. But they are inside the coop. I've been doing some work on it. I put those two windows in, and I closed that area off over there. And I've been doing a few things here. I want to put some vents up there and stuff so it's a little cooler in there. But so I thank the people who threw this away. It was a good thing. I do not recommend you risk your brand new chickens by buying one of these and setting them out in your yard thinking it's predator proof. I think probably what happened to these people is they bought some chickens and they had some little kids playing with them, and then everything was wonderful, and then one morning they probably woke up and found that a critter was in there and did the deal. And so, you know, the heartbreak was probably enough for them not to want to do it anymore. So they are officially kicked out. They get to hang out in here until they get a little bit bigger. I might actually need this section up here because I have the number one chick. My hen, the highest ranking hen I have, has taken over the number one nesting box and won't let none of the other hens come in and dump their eggs. So she's brooding. So I'm either going to have new baby chicks, and she's going to go up here with the little babies for a little while, and then I'm going to evict those and stick them over there where Charlie was, where all the main perches and stuff are. So that's the next phase of the journey. I would like to add a little something on the way this whole process is going. These birds aren't quite 4 weeks old yet. They're pushing. This is Bingo. That's the biggest one right there. Bingo. Is that Bingo? No, that's Bingo back there. She's the biggest one back there. Hi, Bingo. She was the first. And then over the course of 4 days, the rest of them hatched out. And the reason they hatched out is because I don't have 40 chickens to gather 40 eggs at one time. So I have 9 chickens. I was getting about 5 or 6 eggs at a time every day and throwing them in the incubator. So the course of a week, they were hatching out. So they're 4 or 5 days apart, some of them. That's Pee-wee there, that little black one. She was I think about the third, fourth, maybe fifth from the last born, and she's definitely the smallest. It was a little teeny egg, and I was putting eggs in the incubator, and I said, hey, why not? See what happens. And, you know, by the same token, Bingo was probably the biggest egg out there. That's probably why she, you know, was one of the first eggs out there. So, we're going to have some more chicks here probably. The Harriet, she's been brooding there for probably, this is like the 5th day, I think. And she's been diligent. I mean, she's been really staying on the nest. I've seen her off maybe twice in that time period that she's been doing that. So, you know, I'm confident she might make it. And if she don't, I'll just crank up the incubator and throw them all in there and see what happens. But we'll let her see what she wants to do. If she has the baby chicks, I'll keep these little monsters here inside that one. You know, the perch room where all the perches are. So, for the time being, I put a little door in it and everything. And then I'll leave this for Harriet and her baby. Let them live in that for the time being to their little baby gets a little bigger, and then I'll try to introduce her to this flock because them chicks there will only be 2 months younger than these. So it might be easier to introduce them to this flock. Hey, what's going on there, Bingo? Because Bingo was her name-o. Bingo was the first one. First egg I ever hatched out of the incubator. Nothing happened on the 21st day, and I was like, oh man, I did it all wrong. None of the eggs are going to hatch. And just then, Bingo popped out. It took her about 30 seconds. She pipped a little bit, she pipped a little bit more, and I guess she just got behind it and pushed, and bang, popped out. And so Bingo is her name-o. She was the first. Pee-wee's pretty obvious. I will say this. If you're going to name your chickens and get all familiar with them, don't get all the same kind. I got all buffs, and they're hard to tell apart unless you really, really know the combs. And the browns, I only got, how many browns? I got 6 browns. Them ISA browns from Tractor Supply. I got 6 of those, and the only one I can really tell is red, or not red, Coco is one because she's darker than all the other ones, and Lucy's lighter than all the other ones. And this little one here looks like a little eagle, don't he? Little baby eagle. Okay, so there's my take on that. One more thing I want to add to all this about the whole incubation thing and the whole process this far with these chicks. With the buff Orpingers were my first. And I got them in the box from Tractor Supply. Went down to the post office, picked them up, brought them home, stuck them straight in the cage. No heat lamp or nothing. The house is about 75 or 80 degrees. No heat lamps, none of that crap. And they huddled for warmth. And the browns were the same way. They came in the box from Tractor Supply, and they went straight out there. And they were like days old. You know, they weren't older. You know, Tractor Supply ships them out pretty quick. And so these guys here, when they came out of the incubator, they went into a brooder for a couple days, and then from the brooder they went, started getting feathers and stuff. They go straight into the brooder with the little thing, and then they spend maybe a week in there until they go to the cage, and they just huddle together for warm inside the house. So that when I watched some of the videos, people are keeping them in those brooders for 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks at a time. They have the little lamps on and, little heat lamps and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, that was an unnecessary electric bill. They actually, once they get their feathers in room temperature, they seem to do okay. And if anything, look how big they're getting. They're not even 4 weeks old yet. Yeah, they know the whistle. And then when you go, buck, 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 they go back to what they were doing. It's like saying, at ease. So, there's the baby chicks, the assessment. These little bad boys are already eating mealworms, whole corn, bread. And I get this stuff. This is mixed in with all kinds of stuff here. But I get this stuff. It has like little peas and carrots and all that little stuff in there, little tiny. Now it's mixed with scratch. You see little bits of scratch in there, the corn and the white stuff, and the different grains. And this is a multi-mix for the bigger chickens. This ain't for them. But I put the little chickpeas and carrots and stuff in with the mealworms and the chick starter and all that. I mix it up real good for them, and they're eating all that stuff with no problem. They're growing like a weed. And so there they are. Bingo's probably 4 weeks. And the rest are 4 or 5 days behind. Give or take. And so that's the deal there. Just remember, these are nice to have. But they're probably better off inside a building. In the garage, in a shed. Or is that roosters? Are y'all being roosters over there? You look like a rooster. Oh, that's the other thing. Originally, when they were first out of the shell there, and within a couple of days, I did the checking the wings out to see who's the boys and who's the girls. And I was thinking 4 roosters. Now, it's probably a little more than that, as I see them in there carrying on. And some of the combs. See, here's the thing. These are barnyard chickens, you can't go by the combs because they're uh, Charlie's an unknown veritable. There is so much in Charlie, you just never you don't know what his lineage is, and so um, these things could get like that's a white bird. None of my birds are white, but there's a white bird. You know, so the ISA Browns, they're engineered to be production birds. They lay like 300 plus eggs. If you're in the egg business, that's what you want. Everybody says that their best chickens are laying 4 or 5 eggs a week. Those ISA Browns, them bad boys, they're cranking out 7 days a week almost. If not 7 for 7 or 6 eggs in a week, or they're at the real high end of that. They bill them out as saying 300 eggs or more a year, and I bet you it's probably 325 or somewhere in that neighborhood. So the little browns from Tractor Supply are probably your best thing for egg layers. A dual purpose bird, well, any chicken's a dual purpose bird, but there's one of them little ISAs. They red comets and red stars and queens, and they got all kinds of names for these little things, but Tractor Supply calls them ISA Browns. And these are the egg layers. Here, go in there and get you some. That's Lucy. Go in there, Lucy. You see, Charlie's been giving them bald spots on the back of their head. Is Charlie being rough with you? Come on, get in there. Go in there. That's one thing. When they're in the house, I handle them every day, and I play with them and stuff, and I talk to them. And, buck, 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 buck. And that's why when I whistle, they all look, see where the thread is, and then when you go, buck, 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 it's like saying, at ease, everything's okay. And so they all speak the language, and they're you can pick these chickens up pretty easy. Charlie, you're not going to reach over and pick him up, but these chickens you can, and these will be too. So that's the baby chicks. The next step is to escalate them out to where they can come outside. Look at the back of her head. Man, Charlie is just tearing them up. But they're on the backs don't look too bad yet. When he starts tearing into their back feathers, that's not looking good. I'm going to separate Charlie and give him a timeout. I will say this though, of these little roosters, there's a couple little roosters in there. I'm hoping it's one that don't have the feathers on the feet. I'm not a big fan of the feathers on the feet thing. I would like to breed that out of a couple of them. Because Charlie over there has problems with his. He breaks his off while he's walking and trying to mount the other chickens and stuff, and he breaks them off. And then his foot gets sore and he gets to hobbling along. And then when he does it for the limping too much, I'll take him out and wipe his feet down with little alcohol pad, little rubber, them little pads you get in little packets, little sanitizer things. Now I'll wipe his feet down real good with that, and then I'll get the pliers and I'll pull whatever broken feathers he has sticking out off. The ones. What it is they break and they're facing down, and when he steps, he's pushing those nubs up into the socket. And so I pull them out or cut them, trim them down. The little feathers, I trim all them down. And Bingo here, first thing the other day, I noticed she had some blood on her foot, and apparently she had a little blood feather. I don't know if she broke it jumping around or if she plucked at it or whatever. But I'm not a big fan of the feather feed. So like with this little white one here, if this turns out to be a rooster, then that'll be my main rooster. I'll let Charlie train him. He'll be the underling for a while, and they'll see what Charlie does, and he'll get the idea. See, there's one right there. I know what you are. You and your little red freaking comb. That's the other thing, because they got so many things in them. You can't go by, because some of these combs on these things, Some of them are going to be like Charlie, and then some of them are going to be like her. Some are going to be a single. Going to be a single. You want to smile for the camera? Buck, 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 buck. Say hello. Buck, 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 buck. So maybe this breed here, their combs, darken up and get red before, say, the ones with the combs like Charlie got. Charlie got them a rose comb combination of one of these combs. I don't know, but maybe his kind of comb. See, this one over here is going to be like Charlie. He's going to have the 3 little ones, I think. Charlie, I thought Charlie was a buttercup. There they go, we're fighting. Not fighting, but practicing. So we're going to have more than 4 roosters. So that's it here. I'll give you guys an update on the next phase, the next step of the journey. And that will be outside of this cage and locked into the building. They got all this room down there to run around under there. And they can go up in there if they want. And that's until they get a little bigger where they don't squeeze out the fence. And then I'll cut them loose in the yard. And then the other chickens, they can get to know them through this. And then when I let them out, I will never had no problems integrating these chickens into the flock, or even Charlie. Charlie had a couple of these little brown ones. Didn't know how to take him, and they puffed up on him, but there was no contact. I think letting them get familiar with each other for a couple of days before you stick them together makes them a little more friendlier. Because Charlie came in, and the reception of the 2 little times that these brown ones challenged him, and they're like, "Hey, who are you?" And they stood up to him. But after that, there was no problems. The same with these brown ones. I had Peabody, which was one of those buffs, and Peabody was just trying to kill all of them. And of course, fate or karma or God or whoever you want to attribute it to took her out of the picture. It was a cat. A feral cat came and got Peabody. And of course, Peabody was my favorite, which is why she didn't go in the freezer. Hey, buddy. How you doing? See, these little things, the diets on these things, I'm telling you, the eggs, the yolks in the eggs are bright orange, man. The things are so rich. It's because they eat everything. I put a garden in out there. I put sunflower seeds and cabbage and potatoes and all the shit that they eat, and some bell peppers, which I eat, and some hot peppers, which maybe they eat it. They might. So there we go. That's it for another day. That's the update on eviction of the little kids here. They're booted into their next phase. They're not coming out of here. I'm gonna stuff them up there tonight. And that's where they're gonna be sleeping for a couple nights. And then every day I'll let them out into this. Unless it gets really, really hot overnight and it's too hot in here, I'll leave them down there. I prefer they be behind there. Yeah, there they are, just chilling. Okay, if you like, subscribe, hit the button. I really need subscribe. If you look, I got like 6 subscribers. You see that? 6 is. I don't know anybody out there that has less than that. And when I look at all the other videos, so do me a favor, man, hit the subscriber button, and I'll kick it right back to you. I'll subscribe back to you right back. How about that? We'll boost each other's subscribers. Thanks for watching.